Great. Really happy to have you all here again for another Ask Me Anything Workplace Leadership series. Today we have Frederico here with us, who's going to share a little bit about himself in a second. But while everyone trickling in, would be great if we get to know each other, if you can introduce yourself in the chat, your name, your role, the company, and the company that you're at, and also where you're dialing in from would be great. And also just a little bit about Gable. Since we're hosting this webinar, we are the operating system for workplace. We have 4 key pillars of our product to help companies manage efficiently their workforces and workspaces. We have an on-demand flexible space solution. We provide access to over 13,000 spaces, co-working spaces globally distributed to provide meeting room, hot desks, and private office on request for remote employees. We also provide HQ space management capabilities, meeting room booking, desk reservation, and all the data and insights combined, visitor management to welcome your guests, and finally event orchestration to help you organize on-sites and off-sites with your teams. And without further ado, would love for you to get to know Frederico here with me. Fred, if you want to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Lisa. First of all, thank you for the invitation. A little bit about my background. I'm originally from Brazil, hence the accent. So you can make the question twice if you're not understanding my answer. But I started to work with real estate back in Brazil for Walmart and other big retailers. Then I started to lead real estate for IBM in Brazil, then Latin America, and then I was asked to come here in 2022 to lead real estate for IBM in US. So that's what I'm doing since then. A lot of challenges from people returning to the office. So a lot of fun things happening at this moment here.
Awesome. We'll talk all about them in a second. So everyone who's here and want to follow along and upvote or add some more questions, please just scan this QR code or go to slido.com and put this pin. And without further ado, I'm going to start with the questions that have already been pre-submitted.
We could take your name out.
I don't know. Okay. 1 second.
She's sharing her desktop.
Okay. Great. So the first question would be from Virgilio at Weight Watchers. As companies are right-sizing portfolios, subleasing, consolidating, how do you balance cost efficiency with employee experience and engagement?
So we are seeing this as an opportunity. By the way, so just to start, yes, as most of the companies are doing right now, we are downsizing. We're not saying that we are downsizing. We're saying that we are aiming for a more intelligent portfolio because, and then this will be specifically for IBM. We have a legacy of old locations and old manufacturing sites and data centers. So we had more space than needed even before the pandemic. But after that, now with how people are using the sites, we need less space. So of course we are trying to downsize, but we are using this as an opportunity to have a brand new location or a better location for our employees, because it's easier for us to embed this capital request or this new lease in a business case where I'm consolidating our operation than to just knock on the door of the CFO asking for more money to renovate a place. So we see this as a positive on the employee experiences, because at the end of the day, even with a smaller portfolio, it will be a better one in terms of workplace experience.
Amazing. This is a follow-up question from Mark at Hanover Insurance Group. How you identifying spaces that are most beneficial to employees and improve in-office experience?
So, of course, we have all the normal and traditional aspects that we are looking for. So location, size, but what we are actually aiming for right now, and this will probably answer some other questions as well, it's to create spaces with a purpose, meaning that we are not trying to build an office anymore just because we have employees at one specific location. We are trying to build something that will have a business purpose at the end of the day. As an example, if we have a lot of clients related to cybersecurity, we are building a cyber range in the building so they can showcase and test everything with their clients, or innovation centers. Or even there was a case here where a team said, look, if we are all together in one place, we'll increase our revenue by 20-30%. Okay, there is a specific purpose for this team to be together. So the purpose of this office will not be, okay, I'm creating locations for you to work. The purpose of this office at the end of the day is to increase 30% of revenue of the specific business unit. So that allow us allow us to not force them to come back to the office. They are coming back because they have the specific purpose. Of course, this is on top of amenities, on having a great location and parking, etc. But at the end of the day, when you have a specific purpose, it's easier for you to convince everybody to come back to the office and have a great experience, because it will be strictly related to their business and what they are doing. And for us, works better as well, because at the end of the day, we need to have less locations, because if we can build those specific sites or specific buildings in some hubs, then allow us to downsize even further.
So basically, you've transitioned from having space just for having space to more purpose driven built out. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
at the end of this makes sense for us, but it helped us also with a return to the office policy. Oh, don't get me wrong. Our portfolio, we have a long way to go before we have all spaces with this specific purpose. But the ones that we are doing this, we can see that we have a natural increase of utilization.
And Fred, maybe just for the context of everyone, if you can talk a little bit about the return to office policy that IBM had.
So this is an ongoing conversation. So we had return to the office mandate for managers and executives to be at the office 3 days per week. And now this is migrating to the entire team. But we have differences between business units. So if you're talking about a salesperson, they are not required to be at the office. They are required to be with the client. So sometimes this return to the office, it's not applicable to everyone, or we have different labels to the return to the office. Sometimes it's return to the client, and same thing for our consulting team. So we rather have our preference is that there to be at the client instead of be at no location. But on the other hand, to my purpose, the speech earlier, sometimes they need to bring the client to the site for a specific reason. So we need to have sites that are prepared to receive clients that will be there with the sales team or will be there with a consulting team. So it's a different experience when you're just getting there to meet with your team, or when you're bringing a client to try to sell something, or you're bringing a client to try to explain a product, or bringing a client to build something together, because there are business units at IBM that will will build something with the client on site. So their need is completely different than a finance person that will come here just to do a back office work.
Excellent, thank you. Another question from Erica at DoorDash. What is a healthy utilization rate of workspaces? What factors do you consider when setting those up?
We were aiming post-pandemic on 60% of utilization. Now we are more to 70 to 80% of utilization. That's because, again, we want those spaces with purpose. And sometimes they are not so cheap to build, so they are expensive because they have specific needs. So we need those sites or we are not there right now, but the aim is to get close to the 80% of utilization. And how we are measuring this, today we cross information from badge readers and Wi-Fi. But now also to determine how we are building spaces in the future, we are starting to track heat, or to build a heat map, because it became clear for us that some spaces that we were building, like workstations or some collaboration areas, they occupy a lot of space and they were not heavily utilized. And when you look at meeting rooms, they are heavily utilized today. So we want to not only have the data on how many people are actually going to the site, how much time they spend there, but where specifically. Not to track them. This is HR, this is security, but from our perspective, it's just to understand where our focus should be in the future for the layout of the spaces.
And maybe as a follow-up, you mentioned 80% is the goal. Can you share a little bit why this is the goal of utilization? Why this number was selected?
Because when we were talking about 60% of utilization, again, tracking badges and Wi-Fi, when you have meetings or some events and you're tracking the badge reader, when the person is going to the site and going out, it counts like one. So we were having this data of 60, 70% utilization, and you actually, when you go to the site, it's empty. Nobody was using the site because not nobody was using the site. They were using, again, for different purposes, one meeting and going out, going to the client. So we figured out that 60% was a measurement that was not indicative that the site was actually have or utilized properly. So that's why we decided to increase this measurement. And of course, real estate started to be more expensive and construction. So it will also help us to justify that if a business unit needs a space, so they better use it, because otherwise they will be spending money, their own money, but the company's money at the end of the day in spaces that are not extremely necessary.
Oh, thank you. Another great question from Laura at Vanta. What are the most essential office access data points you like to collect and present regularly to your leadership team? We talked a little bit about this now, but if you can share a little bit more about, what are the metrics and KPIs you're looking at, and how often are they presented, and what are maybe the action items following those?
Again, what we are tracking today, it's badge readers, and is a cross between badge reader and Wi-Fi data. And not enough because this is not giving us the proper information to build the future space, to my point earlier. So we are aiming to have this heat map that it's more accurate for us to determine not only how the space was used, for how long, but also what's more important for us. So it's a very important data, because to answer your question, how often are we looking at this? It's in a daily basis. Not only because we are trying to figure out what the tendency is for a specific location, but every time I have to submit something for approvals internally, this is the first question that the CFOs from the business units or the IBM CFO at the end of the day is asking. It's how much this space is used. So not only is that data that we follow recurrently on for us to understand our own business, but every time that we need to ask for some kind of approval, it's a key data that we are using.
Excellent, thank you. And I think there's a great follow-up on that I think would be relevant is what is the most important thing in building a community in the workplace? And I'll add it with also a question from Carly Etanium is how do you encourage people to attend the office?
Yeah, again, this space with the purpose, I think it's the most compelling reason for people to come back to the office and create this community. Because when you're coming back to the office for this purpose, as I said, for increased sales or for a showcase on a cyber range or any specific lab, you're not coming by yourself. So the whole team is coming for that. So it automatically is creating this community sense. And this is the concept and the major reason that people are coming back. But once they are here, there are those small things that we can do. It depends on then what the characteristics of each business unit. For my personal team, what we did here is we created a common, nobody has dedicated office anymore, but this is kind of old, right, already, because the open space is not something new. But we created like a round table where everybody's sitting together. It seemed a simple thing. And sometimes it's a little bit noisy, but we have those meeting rooms that people can go to make their private meetings. But what we notice is that we basically eliminate the needs of having meetings with the teams. We are having recurring meetings with people that are in other locations that my team is spread all over US, but the local team, we have different roles here. So we have design and construction, we have mergers and acquisitions. And we were scheduling meetings all the time. And after we been together here, just hearing what the other one is doing or a side conversation, maybe a person can join. So it, again, very simple, but eliminate the need for us to spend a lot of time in meetings.
And Fred, maybe as a follow-up, is there anything more structured that you do as part of, either the real estate team or events team to bring people together on certain days or activities that can help with the community creation while people are coming back to the office?
Yes, we are not working alone on this. So, when we met the other in the other event last year, I mentioned this a little bit because the more we discuss this, the more we are integrating with HR and marketing. So, and we have senior executives, leaders that are part of this group as well. So yes, there are some, especially on the hubs that we have right now, the major sites. We have events. There sometimes they have nothing to do directly with the work that we're doing, but to celebrate some specific date. So what we are doing as well, it's giving independence to each location to do something by their own. So you mentioned something structure, but in a company of this size, locations are very different. Not only the building itself or the size, but also the teams that go there. So this is kind of happening in an independent way. We have kind of a structure that we are trying, and we have an area within real estate that is responsible for the workplace experience. So we have ambassadors in some sites that are exclusively for real estate and are working with HR and marketing to do those things. But again, this is happening kind of an organic way, because we are, when I say we, the company is allowing the local teams to work themselves on their wish list.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you so much. Another follow-up, which is interesting question from Chris about, maybe the future of real estate decision is your team leveraging AI to perform some real estate tasks, or can you provide examples on that?
So IBM works with AI, right? So we sell this product as well. So yes,
Yeah.
we are using it for real estate. The funny thing is that everyone at IBM wants to use AI for something, and we are using our own tool for that. So there is a huge dispute, healthy dispute internally to access this team and to work with them for something. But we kind of have a vision. Today, we already established some chatbots, because one of the things that take a lot of our time here, it's internal requests, right? So, or questions. It's not even related to the strategy itself. It's like small things that we need to solve for them on a daily basis. And it takes a lot of time from our team. So we were able to build a chatbot that's able to answer the most important questions regarding this. But we are aiming to do more with that, but more than related to the real estate strategy per se. So we want to track not only our internal data, but also external data, like cost of rent, cost of construction, and where are the best markets for us to, in the first phase, use AI to base ourselves to what will be, or to have like kind of an argument when presenting this to the leadership, that this is the best solution. But also in the third phase, probably something that will automatically recommend us what will be the next step, and crossing all the data, internal data, what's the business units need, and what is the market looking today. For example, if I want to sell an asset, what's the right time? So they will point out to me this. We hope that this AI can help us in the future. Point out, okay, this will have to wait until this time, the predictions, and make an analysis to say not only when will be the right time, but what's the appropriate value and what's the appropriate target for us to sell this asset. So a lot of things that we are looking right now, but again, it's a work in progress.
We're all living through this
Definitive,
revolution. Yeah, we're all living through this revolution, and I think it only makes sense, right? Just to make a prediction and data-driven decision about your real estate portfolio, both current and future.
Yeah.
And there is a great follow-up question in general is, are you planning to downsize your real estate footprint or optimize, I would say, the spaces that you have as a strategy?
Yes, we are. To my point earlier, we have a very big footprint as a legacy from the past. And I think we can work better with a smaller footprint. This is not only my thought, this is coming from the leadership of IBM, that we're not saying we are decreasing headcount or anything like that. By the way, it's the contrary. But we can use the spaces better. So if we can have the right location and with the right size, with this purpose that I mentioned before, we can have a newer or renovated portfolio, more surgical, and not having whenever we have a client in a specific state, just open an office because of that. We are not doing this anymore.
And this is more driven from efficiency or cost saving from the higher level strategy?
Getting back to the office with the purpose that I said to you, it's related to efficiency, because we saw that when you have a location that's designed for the specific purpose, it worked better for the team. But of course, there is also a financial component behind this, because if you look at low utilization and our big portfolio spread all over the place, it doesn't make too much sense. But again, for real estate, this is useful, because instead of me just going to asking for capital to renovate or build a new place, I can put a business case together that says, okay, in New York, we had 15 locations, and now we're just aiming to get everybody consolidated in one. But to do that, I need the state-of-the-art location. So that was the case of One Madison Avenue that we recently opened in New York, that we had, and a lot of reasons that we had 15 locations spread all over the place there. It's because some business needs in the past and acquisitions. So we end up with the portfolio of the, but at the end of the day, this was good for real estate, that because we were able to take this, put a business case together and justify this brand new office that we have there right now.
Excellent, thank you. One final question that I have, which is from the audience, but of course very relevant to what we do, is IBM also has a remote population, quite significant remote population as well.
Yeah.
There's a question about providing access to third spaces, right? Like co-working spaces or any type of spaces for the remote population. And how do you see the importance of that?
This is key for our strategy right now, because when I say that we are consolidating and building those spaces, this with purpose, this comes with the cost. It's not, I can't start building labs, data centers, cyber range, or proposal rooms for consulting all over the place. This will be too expensive for us. So we are consolidating those operations, those specific specific sites with purpose in some hubs. But to your point, we have teams and clients spread all over the country, all over the world. And so a key part for our strategy is to use we call it space as a service, but the third parties are the co-working locations. This is important for us. The key or an important factor that we are trying to figure out still, it's how we can make them collaborate in this type of environment, because we don't want them just to book a space to have an office, because otherwise it's better for you to be the client, etc. We want this to be a place, even if it's not an IBM branded location, but we want them to have the opportunity to collaborate in those spaces. So this is the challenge that we face with this kind of spaces. There are some tools that maybe we can use to help us, right, Lisa? But it's an essential part of our strategy, with this caveat that we are trying to figure out how they can collaborate in those spaces.
Thank you, Fred. We're at time, which flew by extremely fast.
Yes.
Can you believe it? I'll move it to Daniel for some final notes. And I want to thank everyone who joined this amazing webinar.